Hello again, my friend. Welcome back to another quiet journey of reflection. Let me begin with a question that may sound strange at first. If you could become a god, would you? Most people would say yes. After all, who doesn't want power, freedom, beauty, and respect? But what if I told you that even gods are still bound by karma, still walking through the same cycles of gain and loss, joy and grief? Today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating and misunderstood teachings in Buddhism, the idea that beings can ascend to divine realms through virtue and merit, yet even those heavens are temporary. The true liberation lies not in becoming divine, but in transcending the need to be anything at all. Let's uncover together why beings become gods, how that transformation happens, and why the path beyond divinity is the one that leads home. Imagine this story. In an ancient city, there lived a merchant named Rahula. He was generous, kind, and deeply respected. Every festival, he fed the poor, built wells, and repaired temples. When he passed away, the villagers mourned, but his consciousness awakened in another realm, brilliant, vast, filled with music that seemed to come from light itself. He had been reborn as a god in one of the heavenly worlds. First, the experience was intoxicating. He could travel with a single thought, his body shimmered with radiance, and his heart overflowed with bliss. He looked down upon the human world with compassion and a hint of nostalgia. But as ages passed, he noticed something disturbing. His companions, once luminous like him, began to fade. One by one, their light dimmed and vanished. He realized they weren't disappearing into eternity, they were falling back into the cycle of rebirth. Their divine lifespans had simply run out. In that moment, a profound sadness arose in him. Even heaven had an end. This story illustrates what the Buddha taught about the Deva realms. Beings who cultivate immense virtue, generosity, and faith may ascend to these celestial planes. They enjoy vast happiness because of their accumulated good karma. But karma, by nature, is impermanent. When its energy is exhausted, consciousness returns to lower realms, just as a lamp burns bright before going out. This is not a punishment, it's simply cause and effect. The teaching reminds us that even the highest pleasures are still within the wheel of samsara, and as long as something depends on causes, it will eventually pass away. But here lies a beautiful paradox. The path to becoming a god is the same path that can free you from all heavens if walked with wisdom. Acts of generosity, morality, and compassion are powerful. They build luminous energy within the mind. But if these acts are done with attachment, if we crave the reward or the identity of being good, then the seeds ripen into temporary joy. If they are done with pure intention, without grasping, they lead to awakening itself. The same seed can bloom as a flower in heaven or dissolve into enlightenment, depending on the soil of the heart. Let's pause here and bring this closer to modern life. You might not be building temples or feeding monks, but every day you make choices that shape your world. When you act from kindness, honesty, or forgiveness, you are literally creating divine energy. You are shaping the subtle field of your next moment, your next life. But if you do these same actions only to gain recognition, to feel superior, or to manipulate outcomes, the energy becomes heavy again. The intention, not the form, determines the result. This is what the Buddha meant when he said, "Mind precedes all phenomena." Here's a real-world story. A man named Joseph volunteered every weekend at a local charity. But word lie, he looked like the perfect example of compassion. But deep down, he was driven by guilt and a desire to impress others. Every compliment made him secretly proud. Every criticism filled him with resentment. One day, an elderly monk visited the charity. Watching Joseph work, the monk smiled and asked, "Are you helping people, or are you helping the idea of yourself?" That question struck him like thunder. He went home that night and cried, not from shame, but from awakening. He realized that his service had been another way of polishing his ego. From that day on, he began volunteering quietly, without announcement, without expectation. Over time, his joy deepened into peace. He had discovered what it means to serve beyond heaven, to give without needing to become anything. The Buddha explained that gods, despite their splendor, still experience subtle forms of desire, pride, and ignorance. Their joy is vast but fragile because it depends on favorable conditions. When those conditions shift, their hearts tremble. This truth is a mirror for all of us. How often do we build our personal heavens, relationships, careers, achievements, and then fear losing them? That fear is the thread that keeps us tied to the wheel of becoming. Freedom begins when we can love something without needing it to last. Now, you may wonder if even gods must fall. What's the point of goodness? The answer lies in understanding the two paths hidden within every good deed, the path of merit and the path of wisdom. The path of merit beautifies the world, builds kindness, abundance, and joy, but only the path of wisdom ends suffering, because wisdom sees through the illusion of possession. You don't need to abandon goodness, you need to pair it with understanding. Act kindly, but know that kindness is not yours. Practice virtue, but don't make it your identity. When wisdom and virtue unite, the very actions that could make you a god instead make you free. Here's how the sutras describe it. Those who cultivate compassion without attachment ascend beyond all realms. Those who cling to their compassion remain bound within them. Subtle, but it's everything. Attachment disguises itself as love. Ego dresses itself as virtue. Only awareness can tell the difference. Let's make this even simpler. Imagine you light a candle in a dark room. The candle doesn't say, "Look how bright I am." It just shines. When it's done, it goes out quietly. That's the spirit of enlightened goodness. Divine Act says, "May this bring me merit." Liberated Hack says, "May this bring peace to all beings." The first creates heaven. The second dissolves the need for heaven. So, how do we walk this path in the modern world? First, be generous. Give your time, your attention, your patience, but while giving, silently remind yourself, "I am not the giver, there is only giving." Second, practice humility. If others praise you, bow inwardly to the truth that the universe worked through you. Third, reflect on impermanence. Even the sweetest joy fades, but that doesn't make it less beautiful. When you can love without clutching, you've already gone beyond the gods. There's an ancient parable that says, Deva once descended to earth and asked a monk, "Why do you meditate when you could join us in the heavens?" The monk replied, "Because you will fall from heaven, but I am seeking a peace that cannot fall." That peace is nirvana, not a place, but the absence of grasping. It's not higher, it's deeper. Let's bring this reflection into a modern analogy. Think of your life as a game. Most people play to win. They want points, status, recognition. The few who awaken realize that the joy is not in winning, but in understanding the game. Once you understand, you can still play, but you're no longer fooled by victory or defeat. That understanding is the key to transcending the divine. You might think, but I'm not holy enough for that. The truth is, holiness isn't about perfection, it's about perspective. The same heart that longs for heaven already carries the wisdom to see beyond it. Every act of awareness, every moment of letting go is a step out of the cycle. You don't have to stop living in the war. You just stop believing that the world defines you. Let me share one last story. In a remote mountain temple, a young monk asked his teacher, "Master, I dream of ascending to the heavenly realms." The teacher looked at him kindly and said, "Why aim so low?" The student was shocked. "But Master, heaven is the highest realm." The teacher smiled. "Heaven still has directions. True liberation has none." That conversation changed the monk's life. He stopped meditating for bliss and began meditating for truth. Years later, he told his students, "Heaven is sweet, but truth is endless." And so, my friend, remember this. Becoming divine is not the end of the path, it's a rest stop. The real journey continues until you no longer need to be someone special, somewhere special, or praised for anything at all. When you live from that quiet understanding, you become what the ancient masters called free among the bound. You may walk through fire and water, success and failure, praise and blame, but your mind remains clear, vast, and unshaken. That, not Godhead, is the true victory. Thank you for watching this video. If this message opened something in your heart, please like, subscribe, comment, and share it with someone who might still be chasing their personal heaven.
Before you leave, here's something special. In Buddhism, we believe that every encounter carries a deeper meaning. Would you like to discover your true soul connection, the one written into your destiny? Take the Soulmate Test today and unveil the hidden truths of your journey. Click the link below and begin your path now.
http://soulmate. You wisdom more, come, white.